Hey everybody, it's Bust, continuing our playthrough of the Path of Champions. Today, we're taking on the 3-star quest, The Daughter of the Void, and we'll be using our freshly 2-starred Teemo. I will be quite honest with you, I took probably 10 attempts at this. I'm pretty happy with our strategy, I'm pretty solid with it, and I could not complete it at 1-star Teemo. And so I spent our wild shards, upgraded him to level 2, and we'll see if we can't take down Kaisa now that our Teemo is 2-starred. And so, in terms of our strategy, it all ties in to the armed and ready piece of the star powers. So when the allies attack, you put 5 puff caps on the opposing deck. Then we're going to be using the Gale Force with Teemo. So the scout attacks will give us a flipped hit on our first attack round. He also recalls at the end of the turn, which we then tie into the Lost Chapter. So we'll be able to play our Teemo, get all of those attacks in, and then the Lost Chapter will give us a bunch of spell mana back. So in terms of the new star power, we do get these Strike Swiftly. The big thing coming out of it is we get to start with the +1 mana, but then also when your opponent draws a card with a puff cap on it, you create a fleeting poison dart in hand, and it instead has burst speed instead of being slow. And so let's see if we can do it now. This has been a incredibly challenging set of battles. I'll show you the next piece of what I think to be the Teemo puzzle. In the way that we choose our starting powers. And so the absolute most important thing that you can have happen in any of these games with Teemo is that you have to draw Teemo. The deck is so abysmally bad that Teemo is about 90% of what matters, and that other 10% is stress defense. And so we have to maximize everything that we can do to draw our Teemo. So we're going to roll into the power space, and then we're just going to pick flexible game plan, right? And so if you need to, you can just start the event and concede, come right back, and then flexible game plan is one of these standard options for when you don't win enough, in air quotes. And so we're going to use that to our advantage, pick up the flexible game plan because we know we can take it, and then go on to battle with the Rock Hopper. And so when the foe gets the attack token, they summon a Roiling Sands. Let's see how we do. We get all those bonus manas now. Life should be so much easier. And look at this. We start with a Teemo right off the get-go. Go us. This battle is completely unlosable now, as they say. If that were only the case. So we got our Teemo down. Go ahead and get some battles in. I'm going to drop the Sump Fumes onto the Rock Hopper. You can technically look to game this a little bit in that you can pass, let opponent play Rock Hopper, and then follow up with Teemo so that Teemo can then eat the Roiling Sands, and then we can Sump Fumes the opponent without any cards on board. But if they don't have the Rock Hopper, then we get really boomed in that case. And so I feel like that's a little bit too much for me. I'm having enough luck in the day just drawing Teemo. There's no need to push our luck any further. All right, Rock Hopper on board. Can't quite take him down, but let's get the Puffcap Peddler in. He's going to be enough to do battle with the opposing Rock Hopper. He says no thank you. All right, well, we're locked and loaded. We got a lot of puff caps happening now. Give me them darts. Teemo on board. There you go, dude. Draw some extra cards. I wanna get these poison darts going. It's gonna give us a shot to put three puff caps in. The 3 puff caps will double to 6. The 6 will double to 12. Should ideally be able to get a lethal after this attack. Ideally, they say. Okay, double them up. What do we got them up to? 200, 210, and 22. So maybe, on average, we should probably get there. A little bit short. All right, so we have double stress defense for this board. I feel pretty okay about it. I'll just go ahead and add the Chump Wump in. I can almost guarantee you opponent's going to hit a spell shield because that's just the way the game works. But Let's take the damage prevent. We should be able to call it a day from here. Getting out of the first battle without taking damage feels good, man. Feels good. He's going to get puff capped out of this one before we start doing anything else. GG. Okay. On to the next one. So what do we got in here? This stuff's all way too expensive. We're looking for a catch-all removal spell. So we want like a Vengeance, a Crumble, a Homecoming, something that just lets us take an opposing unit off of the board. At worst, a stun, but preferably something that does like a recall. And then just cheap cards beyond that. The big problem with this deck, outside of the cards all being garbage, is that a lot of times you can't even play the garbage cards because they all cost 4 and 5 mana. And so the stuff here is a little bit too expensive. Let's take a reroll. Veteran Investigator looks pretty good, right? He has the card draw ability attached to him, and then coming down to the board with Barrier. It's not perfect, but gives us a good way to shut down an opposing attack. All right, coming in here. Again, very similar with the likes of Brightsteel Protector. I would like something like Concerted Strike. We're just so challenged in terms of dealing the damage, but I think this is as good as we can hope for. Like, it's very easy for us to re-roll into an unplayable set. And I think here with this Brightsteel Protector giving out barriers and the Concerted Strike, it's like right at the edge of what I'm happy with. So we'll add that set in. Now, looking a little bit further, we have either a Scribe of Sorrows. He lets you buy terrible relics. We have a Healer, which I'm interested in for cutting cards, or a Shop, which I'm not super interested in. And so, of these battles, the Field Musicians are incredibly challenging for us to deal with. We can kind of roll the dice with this one now that we can generate the Poison Darts to kill off the small units and shut down the round end ability, but I feel just a little bit better going to battle against the Profiteer. Just with you typically just have to deal with like one really tall unit, and stress defense helps out a lot in those terms. All right, no Teemos. Here's the strategy. There's the hand. All gone. No more. And we found one. Barely. Barely found the Teemo. How big are you gonna be, Chronomancer? So we can, at the moment, kill it with the Sump Fumes. But that's not gonna last forever. That's not gonna last forever. Let's just play the Veteran Investigator. Make a sad noise as we do it. It can at least block here. It should shut down the attack completely. Just if this picks up any stats like it got here, then the Sump Fumes play doesn't work. All right, an incoming Teemo. Oh, he's doing stuff. Phew, never gonna Sump Fumes this thing down. And Exhaust. Well, that's a real pain in the ass right there. If you really need to, if you have a stress defense, you can potentially get the Teemo in. We can bring the attacks still to at least put the puff caps in the opposing deck, but we're not going to get a flipped hit in this round. Big waste of mana. It's tempting to just still drop the Sump Fumes, but they play all these Sandstone Chargers. I feel like we might get a realistic shot at taking one down. Yay, Spell Shield. I knew we were here to have some fun. So let's get the Peddler on the board. The biggest dude we have. Not horrible, only taking one. Sump Fumes on the big boy, and then we can still play our Teemo and get that 3 mana back. So how do we want to do this next turn? We have a couple of options. I'm leaning towards just playing... Oh, no, we can't play the Ava. I was like, I want to get the Ava Achiever and the Teemo on the board, but that's not going to work out. So I'll add the Chump Wump. I'm going to play both Mushroom Clouds. And then follow up with Teemo. Try and get some big points of damage in terms of Puff Caps. Alright, Teemo scouting ahead. And then we could probably attack with the Chump Wump. Like, I think trading with either of these units is pretty good. They both have spell shields, so we can't like hit them with a stress defense if we ever draw it. So I think that's fine. Got him to 110 Puff Caps. I mean, I guess you can still pop it with a... Like, we should be hitting the poison darts now, but I think getting the trade when we can get it is probably preferable to trying to block. Alright, time to get all the doubles. Should be able to finish this off now. Okay. Alright, Ava Achiever. Make us think you aren't useless. What are we going to hit for? 8? Yep, you're useless. I knew it. I knew it. So here... We're just going to start sending everything face. I'm looking to get Teemo on the board, and then I'm going to play Garen to give him some bonus stats, and we should be good to close this out. Opponent will have like 500 Puff Caps in their deck. They'll get doubled up on the hits next turn. This game should be done. All that stuff happens. Maybe? Oof. That feels good. Alright, let's get all the damages in. One short of lethal, but you should be able to easily get a kill with the Puff Caps. Only needed one, got 38. Good job, deck. Alright, do we want any of this stuff? I mean, the detain, that's kind of spot on what we need, just something that removes anything. it is pretty tempting seeing these double hex core foundries turn up though, but no, I think we'll just take the detain. Moving into the healer, I like to cut out the Chump Wumps first. It just has one less health than the Yordle, so that one can go. And now for our next set, I see this champion item chest down at the bottom. And so the most important thing we're going to be doing is drawing Teemo. Adding more copies of Teemo will help us to that end. So up against the Vaqueran Vagabond, the foe starts the game with the Warlord's Horde. When they pop the Warlord's Horde, they get a mana gem and then a fresh one. All right, no Teemos. Mulligan everything. There he is. Right on time, friend. And I mean, we could kill this now with Teemo. It seems like a little bit better than trying to just trade with it with an investigator or a puff cap pup. Just get it off the board, then maybe we can get a good barrier block in a turn or two. That's not very nice. All right, and the attacks come in. It's a good stuff. He's like pretty much out of cards at this point. If we get to hit a puff cap and then spike a poison dart on this treasure seeker, should be pretty close to out of stuff to do. Okay. Now we got barrier, bro. Say no thanks. All the darts for the treasure seekers. He's gonna have another Waking Sands, but I think that's okay. I wonder if he just doesn't attack because we have the barrier guy. Nope. All right, we're looking pretty good now. Be nice if we could spend a little bit more mana before dropping the Teemo, but I don't think we have any space to complain. So we'll go ahead and drop in the Mushroom Clouds. I'm always a big fan of just throwing away the extra copies of Teemo unless we're worried about losing him in combat and need the extra one. You just get so much more exponential damage in for every Mushroom Cloud you play early. Let's get him. What do we got? 200 puff caps? Right about there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he's bringing back Sandstone Chargers. Got him. GG, dude. All right, let's see what turns up. Something cheap. Well, it's actually kind of interesting with all these. I think I'd rather have the Clump of Wumps than the Puff Cap Pup. Just getting 2 copies of Mushroom Cloud seems like a pretty good deal. And then having the double blockers with him as well. So I'm on board there. Into the champion item chest. Definitely don't want the Radiant Plate Armor, but the special delivery on Teemo giving the extra puff caps seems decent enough. Get Puff Cap Garen, Puff Cap Teemo. And so here we don't need to heal. My kind of stance on this is if you're around like 20 or so, you can probably pass on healing going into Irelia. If Irelia is going to beat you, she's going to hit you for like 40 or 50 in a turn. And so there's not a big deal to worry about that. But if you're taking like the chip damage from the blades, you might realistically take 7 or 8 or 10. And so I don't think there's a lot of reason to just heal up to full. Just you don't want to be in that kind of single digit area since the buffer, you will take a little bit of damage, but there's enough buffer to not worry about all of it. So here, let's cut out the Lecturing Yordle and on to Irelia. So when the foe blade dances, they grant their strongest unit +1/+1, and it attacks with the blades. This is why we talk about the importance of picking up these kind of guaranteed removal spells. He's going to have a lot of boards that has just Irelia on it, and we want to be able to kill her as soon as we can. So I'm leaning towards something like this. We can start off the first turn with the Veteran Investigator if we need to. Probably don't need to, but we can. And then otherwise I want to look for some spells. Alright, Conchal will just end. The high note's probably not enough to actually kill anything. This Face Sprout's kind of tempting, but I'll pick up the Scrapdash Assembly just to make sure we get some blockers. Alright, then opponents most assuredly adding Irelia next turn. They always play her on turn 2. We're gonna play Teemo. It's just who else do we want to play this turn? I mean, we can add the Puff Cap Pup, but then it's not going to be able to attack because Irelia is too big. Right, Demacian Telstones has a detain attached to it. Puff Caps. All right, so we get the big doubles now that Teemo's bringing those 3 Puff Caps on attack. This double hit's getting them big. What are you up to, 40? It's good. It's gonna play the assembly, make sure we have a blocker for next turn. I don't care about Aurelia attacking a bunch of times. It just matters if she hits Overwhelm. So ideally, we'll just ignore Irelia, and we do need to take down the elusives. It's kind of safe for us since we have the ways to give Teemo barrier, but we would ideally take this thing off of the board so that it doesn't get to stop us from attacking next turn. And Irelia hits Spell Shield. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Ooh, he's afraid to attack now. That's pretty good. Gonna go ahead and pop her Spell Shield. I don't think she's going to attack. Well, I guess that was false. That was incorrect. But we'll get to rebank that mana next turn, and we have plenty of spells in hand. We can work with Irelia later. I think we're set in this one. I think we've got this one won. It's amazing how different this feels with just that +1 spell mana. Let's see. We can send a Sump Fumes at the little guy. He can't play Vanguard's Edge yet. It's a little bit too expensive. Can add Blade Dance Dudes. That's okay. Not worried about it. Let's see. Where's our Teemo? I'll scout ahead. Then this is probably the point where we'd like to detain Irelia. We should have like a good answer to take down Conchologist, and we can pretty easily just take a face hit here and not worry about it. Take about 10 damage or so. Steel Crescendo, -10. You got us. You got us real hard there. Uh-oh. I neglected to remember he was going to get an additional attack. I think we're still fine, but that was a little sloppy. A little worried we were just going to get popped there. All right, hit him for 32. GG. Nice. We did a good job of drawing Teemo that game. So what do we got? Definitely taking more Teemos, and oh, absolutely beautiful. This is what really makes these runs easy now, is when you get to start with Game Start, draw me if not in your hand. Just absolutely imperative we draw Teemo every game, and now that we're guaranteed to get him, that's pretty fantastic. And so on to the power. We get to pick one this time. It's pretty incredible. When you summon an ally, deal 1 to the Nexus is okay. Allies keep buffs except barrier. It's not going to do anything here. We don't have anything really passing those out. Then when you summon an ally, give it 1/1 this round. Isn't terrible with Teemo, but it's not particularly strong. I guess Explosive Entrance, it's not even worthwhile. Let's just take a roll. Getting equipment for free, though, is a pretty good deal. Okay. So now, what are we up against? We have the Psy Scout. This is a very big singular go tall kind of unit, which we should be able to deal with our detains and our stress defenses. Our Other removal is a bit worrisome, though. And then down here at the Caretaker, when the foe attacks, right there, attacking units 1-1 and barrier for the round. I don't think we're going to be as good against the width. I'm actually going to go up against the Psy Scout here and take on the Vicious Enemy. Say, I'm ready. I'm ready for your bigness. Just give me that one unit to stress defense. So let's look for that kind of thing. I'm happy to hold on to Detain. I like to hang on to the barriers. And then, of course, I'm just going to draw a Teemo because that's the way the game works now. Oh, the Darkened Halberd, though. Can't load that onto Teemo. I was intending on just dropping a bunch of... oh my gosh, and he's got an elusive now? Ah, you gotta be kidding me. What a disaster right from the start. Okay. Okay. We can manage. So who do we want to get in here? I'd prefer to not have to drop a Veteran Investigator this turn, but I guess we do have two of them. Oh, we have all these Bright Steels as well. Alright, Puff Cap Pup. Sure. I do like seeing a bit of damage go onto the Psy Scout. I mean, we have to find a way to take it down, or we'll never get our Teemo win. Fairly awkward hand as well, given that we don't have any spells. Alright, so I mean, we can get the Detain on the Psy Scout this turn, but we still can't attack with Teemo if we do that. I think we'll probably just want to wait until next turn for it. So let's add a Puff Cap Pup. Yeah, we can give it a barrier, let it attack for once. But yeah, this is going to be more built into taking down the Psy Scout next turn. And this is where the opposing deck really starts to pop off, is when they get to start chaining through these Salt Spires. Not worried about it at this exact moment, but that's where the big boys come from. He loses out on his Spire that way. Got one in hand, but I think this is fine. Oh, barrier guy. Alright, make life a little bit easier now. The big boy has been boomed. Now you can start to attack Teemo. It took long enough to get there, but you can finally do it now. Alright, send in a Mushroom Cloud. I'm not, like, really excited about dropping our Investigators right at this point. Like, he just doesn't have enough Puff Caps. We're gonna, like, once we get this next attack in, it'll be a little bit closer to okay, but we're also just, like, lacking in stuff to do right now, and I would also like to potentially pop the Spell Shield on the Ruin Runner if we can hit a Puff Cap and then throw the Poison Dart at it. So I'm going to drop one this turn. Is that how we want to do it? Or would we rather just do a concerted strike onto the Rock Bear? Maybe that's the way to go about it. Then we can just kind of assume that we'll hit a that we'll hit a Poison Dart next turn. Because otherwise his board's meaningless, right? It's going to be a 2/2 and a... He has the one giant dude, but we're going to answer him. Yeah, I think we're fine now. So there's the Poison Dart. Here comes a Detain. This board's been dealt with. Now we got all this good stuff going on. bunch of garbage here. We'll take Face Sprout. Maybe we'll maybe we'll spike a Papercraft Dragon or something for Teemo next turn. This looks quite strong. The vicious enemy is not that vicious anymore. Oh, there it is. We have the mana for it, right? We can Papercraft Dragon Teemo. All right. I'm on board with this stuff. This is what it's all about. Let's see if we mess up the halberd. To play me. Kill an ally. Whip to another ally. Oh no! Oh man. I got excited about all that damage we were gonna do, and then I realized you can't. The game doesn't work that way. Oops, that might be problematic now that we're missing out on 4 times the amount of puff caps we're doing, and we don't have the mana for the investigators. Whoops, little whoopsies. He'll be at 500 some off of this attack. We're gonna have to drop a Sump Fumes. Alright, that was a little sloppy. I got so excited with what was happening there. Okay. Maybe we'll just outright kill him. Not have to worry about it. Granted, would have been a little bit easier to do if we if we got 2 of those double strikes in. Alright, that should end him. Okay. So not as flashy as we would like, but still a pretty easy battle. So what do we got here? More veteran investigators. That sounds like a win. The Ninja Tabby's not a big deal, but the extra copy of the barrier draw card unit is. Into the powers, round start rally, absolutely beautiful. Just nothing more that we could ask for here. So now we get to get those Teemo attacks in every turn. Onto the shop, we have tons of money. Disarmed is good. Thermogenic Beam, I don't think that's one I'm really amped in. We have good enough removal now. Don't want the Piltover Tailstones or the Crumbling Sands, just a... we already have the good removal. I think we can skip over all of these. Let's pick up Disarmed. Is there going to be another shop? It's an item chest. Or an item chest? Spell chest or an item chest. And then a healer. So we might as well go in and reroll. Anything good? Ravenous Flock with Draw Champion. It is good, but we're already starting with our Teemo every game now, so I'm not worried about that. The rest of these, not particularly impressive. Okay. So, do we want the item chest or the epic spell? Which were these battles? Zinnia is if the foe's units have Nexus Strike, reduce the cost of Zinnia. I think this is Elusives, which scares me quite a bit. And then the Desert Naturalist, which gets a bunch of big grumpy rock bears, which we can reasonably handle. And so, let's rock and roll. When the foe summons a grumpy rock bear, give it +3/+2. And they get a new hibernating landmark, whatever it's called. But we should be able to punch in with Teemo so fast now, I'm not nearly as worried about it. So we'll mulligan him away, right? We're going to just pick up a copy of him naturally, and so we picked him up as it goes, but might as well try and get rid of him.
If it's made of sand, I can light it.
Well, I want to get my Teemo attacks in. We get to play Teemo. He's then going to take a hook into him most certainly, but we have a stress defense to protect. And then we can drop a lodestone and start getting our attacks in. All right. Then we're going to rally every turn. Feels good. This is technically a rally attack, so you can punch in real hard and fast. Alright, so let's summon all of the clumps. I want to definitely send the mushroom clouds into the deck. That can go, that can go. Then we get to add Teemo.
Another day in the field.
So that animation and thought we were going to lose a unit. That's that's not the case. That's not what's happening. Ooh, spells cost 2 more. Petricite Pillar, getting us good. Okay. Let's just go ahead and throw this dart to the Rockhopper. Get an attack. And I don't know if he's going to trade or not, but we're in such a good spot here now, it doesn't really matter. Boost up the ephemeral, so if he wants to prevent the most damage, it's going to have to be against the unit that's going to die anyways. Cool. Should only do about 10 with the puff caps, but I think this game is handily done now. Oh, I didn't realize he was gonna have so much stats. We can't play our stress defense. All right, whatever. That's the right attitude to take.
Prepared for anything. Armed and ready. Price doesn't mean everything. I'll scout ahead.
And we got him.
Starts with mushrooms. We did it together.
Go. So what do we got here? Anything we want? Not really. Puff Cap Pup is fine. These other cards don't really do anything. End of the item chest. Anything useful here? We burnt all of our rerolls, but Detain becoming cheaper sounds pretty good. End of the healer. Gonna cut a card. I'm not worried about our health at this point. Just come down here to the expensive land. Looks like it's gonna be Ava Achiever, but do we want any of these other ones? I could see cutting a Puff Cap Pup at this point. It doesn't really do anything. Maybe that's the one to take out. Well, the Achiever's the expensive one. Okay, on to Kaisa. And so, at the round start, the foe grants each of their units +1/+1 and a random keyword. Can be a little scary. We don't have great ways to interact with their units. It's just a big damage race at this point, and I don't think we have to worry about Kaisa being able to outrace us. So here, I'm going to hang on to this. We're guaranteed to pick up the Teemo, and our curve looks pretty decent. So we can hang on to these bros and not worry about it. Inspired Plans is pretty cool. Get the extra attack damage onto Teemo, and then also generate some spells to throw down. I like it.
Armed and ready.
Let's see if we hit something cool in here. Portal Paloozas. I forgot we had Disarm, just taking away all of his attack power. Kind of sad for you, bro. I guess we could have blocked there, but this is fine. I think it's pretty safe to say that this game was just dunzos at this point. He does get to grow his units and stuff. He has Kaisa in 2 turns from now, but so many puff caps coming already. Something cool? Not really. Can't particularly kill anything with this Death Ray, but we got the mana to spend.
2, 3, 4.
We are starting to overdraw a bit, which is a little annoying, but not really worried about it.
Never know what hit 'em.
Man, we got this Disintegrate Death Ray combo if we want to spend it this turn. I don't think so. I mean, we can't Death Ray the Ruthless Raiders, right? Because they have Tough. And the rest of these units are all pretty bad. No real worries there. Now we've got him up to 224 puff cap. Should take about 10. He's going to have a lot of trouble actually lethaling this turn. I think we're good to go.
There's still time. There has to be. We have something the void will never understand.
I think we're just going to get him with the card draw here. Let's see. Let's see. Only 5. It's an embarrassment. Okay, well, he's picked up Elusive on 2 separate units, so we're not going to be able to get hits in with Teemo. But I'm ultimately still not worried about it. Maybe maybe we should be at this point, but he didn't pick up Lifesteal, which was the big thing. Is that where we have to stop? Something like this. Looks like we're taking 17. How are we going to get you into battle, Teemo? Alright, end turn. Kill him now. Sure did. GG. And so yeah, not a bad set of battles. This one felt much easier. Again, I probably ran through this one like, I don't think I got to 10. It was probably like 7 or 8 or maybe even 9 separate attempts at this. Really challenging to get past Irelia without that +1 mana, and so I figured instead of just beating my head into this over and over again, we just go ahead and pick up that star power, take this one up to 2, and this was much easier with that second point of mana. Again, it's just like so much of the deck is so clunky. So much of it's just so expensive at the top end, at the bottom where all the 4 and the 5 cost cards are, that if you it just basically felt like if you didn't draw Teemo, then you couldn't win the game. And so that was just happening with enough frequency as to where, we just didn't draw Teemo, didn't win. You're not going to draw him every single time. But I think the strategy here is still good. The Gale Force in the Lost Chapters to get the scout attacks and the big chunks of mana, along with just automatically conceding so you can go pick up the draw 2 cards right at the start. Get you lined up well as you can be for that strategy of just drawing Teemo as often as you can. So, good stuff. I had fun with that one. Hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.